Way Team Eubank Jr. defeats the drug cheats Conor Benn, the egghead Conor Benn. Get out of the sport. Yes, the look on Eddie Hearn's face. There we go. The drug cheat loses. Clean fighters reign supreme. There we go. Chris Eubank Jr. wins. There we go. Yeah, in my opinion, he won the fight 7-5. It was a close fight. It was a good fight. It was a very, very, very scrappy fight. But it's a scrappy fight that had you on the edge of your seat for the whole time. It was a good fight. Yeah, look, I'm surprised by Ben's shin. I mean, in the third round, it's not the third round. In the 12th round, I was surprised that he actually stayed in it. I mean, usually I'd give respect to a smaller guy going in there against a bigger guy and showing his chin. But Conor Benn's a drug cheat, so I can't bring myself to respect a drug cheat. Not that they'll give a shit what I think, but me personally, I just can't respect drug cheats. And I'm really glad that Eubank Jr. put a beating on him tonight and won the fight, put him in his place. But yeah, Eubank was good early on. I thought he was good at being able to stay composed. But from round 7 onwards, the fight was scrappy. It was very scrappy. I thought first 6 rounds, Eubank was very good at being able to stay calm, composed, good behind the jab, doubling up the jab, tripling up the jab. I thought Eubank was able to do that very, very well in those first 6 rounds, staying composed. But after that, I thought it was very scrappy from both, and Eubank was kind of playing Ben's game. But Eubank used his size, was able to get Ben up against the ropes and get more volume in and be able to outwork Conor Benn. I thought Conor Benn was very clearly the harder puncher. He was juice, but juice and eggs for Conor Benn. That's why he was the harder puncher than a bigger guy than him. But look, I think Conor Benn was the bigger puncher in there, but Eubank's volume won the fight. Eubank's volume is what has won the fight, and Eubank's ring generalship is what won the fight. But it was the volume where he was able to outwork Conor Benn, shut down the rhythm of Conor Benn late on in that 11th and 12th round, where I thought Eubank almost had Ben out of there, but somehow Ben actually stayed on his feet. Yeah, look, this is how I scored the fight, all 10-9 rounds. So I gave round 1 to Chris Eubank Jr., round 2 to Chris Eubank Jr., round 3 to Conor Benn, round 4 to Chris Eubank Jr., round 5 to Chris Eubank Jr., round 6 to Conor Benn, round 7 to Chris Eubank Jr., round 8 to Conor Benn, round 9 to Conor Benn, round 10 to Conor Benn, round 11 to Chris Eubank Jr., and round 12 to Chris Eubank Jr. 7-5 to Eubank Jr. Team Eubank Jr. There we go. Oh, yeah. Senior back as well. Senior helping, being in his corner to victory, and that mentally, Senior being there, I'm sure helped out Junior a lot. Senior, legend. Thank God he was there. That honestly made my day, seeing Senior walk in with Eubank and embrace him when they were walking into the building. And to make it feel even better, to see them both celebrating at the end as Chris Eubank Jr. got his hand raised. Heartwarming stuff overall, to be completely honest with you. That is what you want to see. It gave me chills to see that, to be honest with you. Unbelievable. Honestly, it made my day. It made me so happy to see that, to be completely honest with you. Yeah, look, I think, and to see the drug cheat getting beat. That's what you love to see. That's what you love to see. And look, I was very nervous yesterday night because of what I was thinking about the rehydration clause and, Eubank looking tight at the weight. But look, from 10 a.m. earlier on today, he was able to rehydrate back to as much as he could have been. And yeah, it was good enough to be able to get the win. It was good enough to be able to get the win for Eubank Jr. But yeah, look, as I said, the jab was good early on. It was. And both guys got cracked. I think it was in the 3rd round where Eubank got cracked a few times by a big backhand from Conor Benn. But early on, though, Eubank was very good at being able to stay composed behind that jab, while Conor Benn was swinging some absolute haymakers, predictable haymakers, which Eubank was just good at being able to dip his head under, which was good to see from Eubank. I mean, you saw Conor Benn lifting his foot up the floor when throwing that backhand, so off stable on his feet. Yeah, he was all over the place, to be honest with you, Conor Benn, while Eubank was good at being able to stay composed, catch Ben with a good few counter jabs here and there, be able to start some good attacks behind the jab. Yeah, once Eubank Jr. was able to crack Conor Benn with the uppercut, I forgot what round it was in, but I think it was round 5 or something like that. That really fully got me confident when Eubank was able to get that timing in of that uppercut, and then he was able Eubank was able to get his timing in even more better with the uppercut. I thought he would throw it more than what he did though, but it was the jab which I think was very good from Eubank in those first 6 rounds. From then onwards, it got me a bit worried that it was getting really scrappy, and Ben was able to, get some time in better, because it looked like Chris Eubank Jr. was starting to tire out a little bit as Eubank Jr. got more scrappy with his punches as well, and it looked like Ben was able to, land the bigger punches, which were more eye-catching, which started to get me worried. But the chin of Eubank was able to hold up. Thank God for that, because the rehydration clause got me worried that it wouldn't be able to, but it did. So thank the heavens for that. But yeah, then it just looked like Eubank's volume was just too much for Conor Benn. Being able to get him on the ropes and ended rounds well. I thought round 11 and 12 for Chris Eubank Jr. were very good rounds, and they were the rounds that won Eubank Jr. the fight. Rounds 11 and 12, I thought he was very clearly the winner of those 2 rounds. Very clearly, in my opinion. And they're the 2 rounds that was able to do it for Chris Eubank Jr. and winning the fight. And yeah, look, volume was just too good, and Eubank was able to overwhelm Conor Benn using his size by, being able to just to stick in front of him. Conor Benn would land a decent shot here and there, though, over the top, which would have me kind of worried. But Eubank just kept that volume going throughout. And yeah, the work rate is what was did it. And Eubank still looked knackered as well. It was heart and grit and the volume of Eubank which kept him winning that fight. And it's always the work rate of Eubank which is very difficult for his opponents to be able to deal with, and the size, volume overwhelmed Conor Benn. And I don't even think it was the size that won Eubank the fight. I just think it was just overall grit which did it, and the fact that he kept, Eubank kept on throwing. He was the smarter boxer out of the 2 earlier on to pick up those earlier rounds as well, which were very important for Chris Eubank Jr. I've seen those also as well. One thing that I did want to mention is I've seen loads of people saying, the 116, 112 cards with all the judges having the same was too wide. I think you could have 116, 112 to Eubank Jr., but I think 7-5, 115, 113 is the more fair result. I don't think you can have a draw, and I don't think you can have Conor Benn winning. I think Eubank won a very close fight. That's my opinion. Eubank was I wouldn't say clear because it was close, but I think Eubank definitely won a close fight. He was a convincing winner in a close fight. But it was very close where there were close rounds. Both guys had big moments throughout. It was very scrappy. But yeah, thank God we get justice. Eubank Jr. wins against the drug sheet where they tried to cover it all up. But there we go. Chris Eubank Jr. wins. There we go. Senior by his side as well. That's what you want to see. Let's go, Eubank Jr. Team Eubank all the way.